Okay, we'll call the Town of Lake Clark Shores Code Enforcement Board hearing to order on February 24th, 2021. And the time is 6:35. Emily, could you please call the roll?
Yes, Paul Hughes,
Present?
Timothy Daughtry,
Here.
Benjamin Hartman,
Here.
Ariel Hernandez,
Hey, I'm
Trent
gonna
Swift,
Here.
Gerard Sanchez,
Here.
Robert Gonzalez.
Here.
Thank you. We'll have a pledge of allegiance now.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Motion carries. Next item of business is a consent agenda, which includes the minutes of the January 27th meeting, unfinished cases now in compliance, and new cases now in compliance. Dana, do we have cases on the agenda that are now in compliance?
Yes. On page 3, the last two cases, case number 20 under continued cases, case 20-0180, Cassandra Rodriguez and Usman Rodriguez, and number 10-21-0067, Ashley Bernard and both of those cases are in compliance.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Is
So moved.
there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Next item is disclosure of visits to remind members of anyone that is particularly familiar with or has gone to or by a property of cases that are before us tonight. Please let us know it at the time the case is presented. Next item is swearing in of any witnesses that will give testimony tonight by the town attorney.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll give me, the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Next item of business is unfinished cases or fine imposition hearings. And we have Betty Carol Terhune and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cases. If there's any discussion, we'll take those as a group. If there's no objections, and if we need to vote, we'll vote on everyone independently.
Were we successful on making that a nuisance property with council?
No, it's not going with in front of the town council. It's the town manager that handles it. We looked at the code. And so we were waiting a little bit to see what happens because it seems like when Dana went to the property, not today, but was it a week or 2 weeks ago?
It was on February 17th at 1:55 p.m.
There was a notice that was posted on the door from a company saying that they would let the mortgage company know that the property was vacant. And so it seems like the mortgage company might, do something about it.
So Dana, is there anything new?
Nope, that would be the only thing. When I took some of the photos, the standing from the roadway, the hearing notices, I put in an envelope and put on the door as requested by the town attorney. They were also sent via certified not with a return receipt, because then I would just get it back. That way I could actually, so we could track it to make sure that it was
Right.
received. If it was received, like, Trevor has given.
Yeah.
I was also directed not to send anything to the mortgage company or anything like that. It wasn't our place to do that. So that was not done. I know that was brought before. Nothing's changed, but when you see in the photos on the north side of the property, you would think that maybe someone was trying to clean it up, but there's evidence that the neighbor decided to just mow that portion because it went with theirs so that it wouldn't affect their property. They see where by the fence, like it was kind of cleaned up. They did that.
So it doesn't appear that the property owners have tried to do anything to resolve the cases.
And nobody has contacted.
Is there any sign of coming and going? I think the last time was the property owners in a long-term care facility, but the daughter was coming or maybe, or was that?
No, the neighbor pretty much made it sound like the daughter was like, okay. You know, because he had tried to ask her to release and the reverse mortgage.
And what was the notice that was posted that you talked about at the start? That was from whom to
I'll
whom?
just read it.
Okay.
So it's just a little notice that was taped to the door. There is a line that you would normally write the date. They didn't put anything there. So it says on blank, we found this property to be vacant or abandoned and will report same to your mortgage holder. The mortgage holder has the right and duty to protect this property and in all probability will have it secured and or winterized. If this property is not vacant, please call 1-800-639-2151, extension 2262 immediately. And then it has off to the right form, capital FTD 0815. Emily looked up the number and it was,
Yeah, I don't remember the name of the company, but it's a company that is typically hired by mortgage companies to check on their houses to make sure that their houses, you know, are not vacant.
Interesting.
It would, at the end of the last meeting, the board decided to ask the property owner to come in compliance or a fine of $50 per day may be imposed until compliance is achieved in each one of these cases. So it would appear that the property is not in compliance and we need to make a decision to impose the fines. Any further discussion?
Sure, this could end up being a situation very similar to the other property we dealt with. What was it, 7900 Westlake? Just did a quick search of the docket. If this is a reverse mortgage and she's not living there, still the process of the foreclosure could take a while. So these fines could rack up and town could end up retaining the property again. If there is any way they could actually orchestrate a reverse mortgage short sale, they probably don't know about that. It's actually in the better interest of them and the town if they could do it. But you know, we can still impose the fine and then determine it from there.
So Dana, insofar as we're aware, Ms. Terhune is still alive, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
But as soon as they're not residing in the property, if it's a reverse mortgage, clock starts ticking.
And it was,
and you never know, COVID could also have an effect on things being a little bit delayed.
I see that the town manager has joined us and this was referred to him. Can we take testimony from the town manager?
Regarding whether the town wants to,
About the nuisance issue?
right.
I mean, you are asking questions.
Yeah.
Really getting testimony.
Well, I think his answers would be testimony, but I don't know, whatever. Mr. Clark, can we ask you a question? About 7730 Westlake Drive. We're sort of at a conundrum here. Has this, I think at the last code board meeting, we referred it to the town or the town manager for consideration of any, nuisance declaration, because as we understand it, the property's vacant with a reverse equity mortgage, with the reverse equity mortgage holder in what it sounds like permanent long-term care, so not in the residence. So we were wondering if there was perhaps a possibility or interest in pursuing it as a nuisance, to be able to go in and at least take some of the town serving cleanup measures, or, where the town sensibilities stand on this issue.
Not trying to put you on.
Yeah, sorry to put you on the spot.
No, I was at the last meeting. I heard the discussion and conversation, and I think my position is that we should move forward to declaring it a nuisance property and allowing us to do some maintenance cleanup activities. That's not an overnight process. And I think we're in the process of trying to figure out how we notice the homeowner, because that's one of the criteria of our ordinance for declaring nuisance properties, is we have to give appropriate notice.
Would you need us to begin the process of imposing the fine for that to occur?
No,
No? Okay.
they're two, other than you asking us to move forward with that activity, they're more or less two separate activities.
And is there anything that our imposing of the fine does to, hasten the process along?
Neither hasten it nor slow it down.
It seems like they're separate issues, and so, okay. Thank you.
Anyone have any more questions of Mr. Clark?
Do we have any ability to find where the homeowner is at the long-term care facility? I'm not sure if she's of sound mind, but certainly if we can contact her and obtain her permission, or at least notice her as to what's going on. Do we have any possibility maybe from neighbors that know where they keep in contact with her? They've all changed? Okay.
I think our responsibility is to notify the property.
I think we have to impose the fine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
at least keep it in our court for right now before we do anything as far as a lien.
So the next step would be to move from maybe imposed to imposed.
Yes.
Someone like to make a motion? And then we're going to have to do this with all 4 or 5 cases. I think you did that last time.
I did. Okay.
Trent's
Put me on
the
the
man for the job.
Okay, so I would move that in case 210008, which is Betty Carol Terhune, 7730 Westlake Drive, Lake Clark Shores, Florida, that we find that the property has not come into compliance under the cited sections 34-20 and 34-19 sub 4, and that a fine of $50 a day is imposed from this date forward until compliance is achieved.
Is there a second?
Second
Second.
motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No one's opposed. Motion carries.
Okay, I would then move in case 21-0009, which is Betty Carol Terhune, located at 7730 Westlake Drive, Lake Clark Shores, Florida, that we find that the respondent has not achieved compliance with section 34-20, and that a fine of $50 a day is imposed from this date forward until compliance is achieved.
Is there a second?
Second the motion.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
I would move that in case 21-0010, which is Betty Carol Terhune, located at 7730 Westlake Drive, Lake Clark Shores, Florida, that the property has not come into compliance under section 34-20 and 34-19 sub 9 sub C of the Town Code of Ordinances, and that a fine of $50 a day is imposed on the property until, from this day forward, until compliance is achieved.
Second the motion.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
In case 21-0011, which is Betty Carol Terhune, located at 7730 Westlake Drive, Lake Clark Shores, Florida, I would move that we find that the subject property has not come into compliance with the cited violations of sections 34-20 and 34-19 sub 9 sub D of the Town Code of Ordinances, and that a fine of $50 a day is imposed from this day forward until compliance is achieved.
Second the motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And lastly, case 21-0012, which is Betty Carol Terhune, located at 7730 Westlake Drive, Lake Clark Shores, Florida. I move that we find that the property has not come into compliance with the violation cited of section 34-20 of the Town Code of Ordinances, and that a fine of $50 a day is imposed from this day forward until compliance is achieved.
Second the motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All righty. With the next two cases being in compliance, that moves us to board comments, suggestions, updates from anyone? Hearing none. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries.